U.S. History 8.1 students, this is Mrs. Olson, and I thought I'd make a little video to help you with the directions for the assignment that is titled Reading Analysis, Enslaved and Free African Americans. So what I did was print out the documents that you're going to need to complete this assignment. If you want to do it all online, that is perfectly okay. So the first one that I have is the actual assignment that has the directions printed on the top of it. And then we have the reading document that is titled Enslaved and Free African Americans. And then a little bit later, you are going to need this one, and its title is Bloom's Taxonomy and Costa's Levels of Thinking in the ELA Classroom. ELA just stands for English Language Arts, and English Language Arts and social studies are often put together when we talk about standards. Okay. So, the first direction says number each paragraph. So, we go to our reading, Enslaved and Free African Americans, and in the margins, we literally write a number 1 next to the first paragraph, a number 2 next to the second, and so on and so forth. These are just reading strategies so that when you want to go back and refer, or your brain is trying to organize the information when you're writing things down, it remembers paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3, so on and so forth. So right now, you should pause your video and go through and just number your paragraphs. All right. Direction number 2 says read the document thoroughly, and while reading, underline important points and circle unknown terms. So when you go through and you read this, you want to underline the big ideas. What's really important to help you understand what this article is trying to teach you. So I just did one, and it's just an example. Make sure that you do the entire document. In the first paragraph, it says, while the spread of cotton plantations boosted the Southern economy, I went and I underlined spread of cotton plantations, because the more of them that popped up around the South, the worse that the slave trade and the amount of slaves in the United States began. All right. The second part of the number 2 directions say to circle unknown terms. So maybe, doesn't have to be, but maybe the term toiled is a little bit new to you, so I would circle that. And then you go and you look it up, right? So look it up online, Google it, or look it up in a real dictionary. Maybe another one is the word indignities. So toiled means to work extremely hard or incessantly, so all the time. And indignities means shame and humiliation. So those are just examples. Right now is when you pause it, you read the entire document, and as you are reading the entire document, you are underlining important ideas and circling unknown terms. So go ahead and pause, read it, and follow the directions. Number 3 says, write at least 3 notes in the margin. They can be about details that you find interesting, something that you already know. Maybe it sparks a connection with you, okay? So what I did is, a lot of mine are actually on the second page. In paragraph number 5, it talks about a gang system, and it gives details of what this gang system of slaves looks like. So this reminded me of like the chain gang in prison movies or prison books, which is probably where prisons got their ideas. The second page by, see, I should have numbered all my paragraphs, by the last paragraph before Free African Americans. I wrote Birth of a Nation, and you can see that my ink got smeared. But Birth of a Nation is a new movie that is coming out, or it already came out, and it's about Nat Turner. And then the first paragraph under Free African Americans, I wrote The Known World, because it's a book I read a whole bunch of years ago, and one of the first chapters talks about a girl who was born from a slave mother and a white father, and her skin color was so light that she passed as white. And that was a big deal back then, to be able to pass as white. And then the last paragraph, I wrote the word Amistad, because that was a movie made about slave ships in the 16 and 1700s coming to America. Okay, so those are just examples of how to write the notations in the margin. And again, the reason why you are doing this is to help you with reading strategies, which help you to remember what it is that you are reading. And then the last direction on the reading analysis sheet number 4 says, using the document titled Bloom's Taxonomy, you are going to be writing 6 questions that help to analyze the article, okay? So 4A says, write 2 questions for each level below. When you look at the Bloom's Taxonomy sheet, the levels start with number 1 at the bottom, number 2 in the middle, and level 3 at the top. So level 3, those are going to be harder level thinking skills. Number 2, or level 2, kind of somewhere in the middle. And level 3, those are kind of easy as far as brain processes, thinking skills. So you are going to use the ideas that are on Bloom's Taxonomy and Costa's levels of thinking to write 2 questions for each level. And B says, highlight the cognitive function, which you're going to find on Bloom's Taxonomy in the 3rd column, that is used in each question. So for example, if one of the terms that you wanted to use is define, right? Define the term cultivate, you're going to highlight it. So use an actual highlighter or use a highlighting function in a word processing application on your computer. Okay? I hope that those directions help a little bit. And if you guys have any questions, make sure that you contact me so that I can help you. We can conference through Canvas, you can text, you can send me an email. Any of those will work. Good luck, and I look forward to seeing your assignments.